Couple things I'm gonna talk about here. There was a point where I ate basically as bad as you possibly fucking eat. I'm talking about overate, fats, sugars, all the bad shit, just to see what the fuck happens. You know what I'm saying? And the crazy thing is that a couple of things I think happened, but also actually happened. I had negative side effects. You know what I'm saying? This is coming from me, a guy who works out and fucking likes to present himself a certain way. I mean, I did gain a little bit of weight where I couldn't see my abs as much anymore. I was bloated, and all the stuff that I actually know that happens, because stuff that you speak on, but could knowledge actually make the situation worse when you are doing an experiment like this? Because the whole thing is that it's more or less how you're receiving it at the moment. You kind of know better, but you do better when you know better. And let's say, for example, all the stuff I ate, I had negative effects only because I had too much knowledge of the negative effects that it would do to my body. You get what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I'm working out now. I'm not eating like that now. I mean, you could kind of see, I still try, stay in shape as much as I could. But I like presenting myself a certain way. It shows a level of responsibility and discipline toward a certain craft, a certain art. For example, like bodybuilding is a sport that requires technique. There's a big difference between, being a bodybuilder where you sculpt your body a certain way to how you want it to look, where you basically visualize how you want it to look, and then you go to work at the gym to sculpt it that way. Or you could just be a power lifter, just picking heavy things up and putting them down. Those are like these big fucking big bellied bodybuilder power lifters that don't look good. They just care about how strong they are. You know what I'm saying? But if you wanna build your body a certain way, you sculpt it. It requires technique. You get what I'm saying? Everything has a technique to it. It has a system. It's like you play sports. There's a technique to being a boxer, for example. There's a technique. There's different techniques in MMA, which is why it's called mixed martial arts. You know what I'm saying? It's not just a one-dimensional thing where you're just punching you. But even though there's different sequences and different techniques to throw in a punch, it's not like it's just one thing you're doing. But when you're doing mixed martial arts, there's a bunch of different techniques that involve more sequences in between those techniques. You know what I'm saying? So there's just much more. It's a more complex sport. Now, when I was eating this way, it was more or less how I was receiving it. And I remember that I would in the back of my, like, I made an example of this in one of my previous videos where I said a bodybuilder is growing based on the fact that before he eats, whether he knows it or not, it doesn't matter what the food is. You know what I'm saying? His intention is to feed the muscles and grow. In turn, his muscles are going to start to grow and he's going to start responding in that way. But when I was eating these bad foods, I got negative effects because when I was eating them, I was kind of programming it unknowingly. I was programming it as I was taking it in, just based on the knowledge of what it was doing to me. That's what I was actually feeding, was the negative effects of what this chemistry would do to me. You know what I'm saying? So to some extent, no, ignorance is bliss, but ignorance is still not bliss. Ignorance is still fucking evil and inverted living, if you really want to know my honest opinion on that. Because there's still a chemistry. It's just, it doesn't happen right away. It happens slowly. Just like everything here has an effect. You want something to work. Like, for example, you build your body. It takes time to build the body. You could take shortcuts, you know what I'm saying, like do steroids and shit, but that has negative effects. There's like short-term, more or less like you're getting quicker gains, but in the long run there's going to be negative effects. You know what I'm saying? So everything here, for example, as far as to what you do and how you do it, I mean, it's still going to have a chemistry to it. But there's also a lot of people who can live to be 90 eating trash. You know what I'm saying? This could be a couple of things. It could be good genes, or they're just always in such a high vibe and such a high frequency that, everything they're receiving it with love, or the people in the surroundings may be giving them the what they're intaking with love. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the times what we listen to online, we try to enlighten ourselves listening to other people's videos and whatnot, but you're eating something that these people are cooking. So do you smell what The Rock is cooking? Now, when you intake this information, you're intaking it, but the person feeding you this information, are they feeding this information to the public with love? Or are they doing it with the intent of gains, like more popularity, you know, to increase their Patreon account, to increase their followers, their network or net worth, in a sense where they're going to start to gain physical things here in this reality. And nothing wrong with that. You get what I'm saying? Only reason I speak on this is to be mindful that, you know, when you're intaking this information, again, you're coming through, we talk about people going through a shift, the world going through a shift. I mean, we're like babies. Again, you're just receiving information because you killed a reality you were once in, and you're coming into a new one as a child. You're more open-minded because you don't really know much, but you're just hearing alternative media to the original media you've been listening to. You get what I'm saying? At one point, you thought that original media was the end-all be-all. You put all your faith in the news, all your faith in doctors, all your faith in the government. And it's funny how we start to talk about the characters we play, the heel turn and whatnot. Look at how it works in movies. In movies, you have, we always cheered for the hero. You get what I'm saying? And we demonize the bad guy. All of a sudden now, lately, we are cheering for the bad guys now. But what is all this showing you? It's all showing you what's happening in real life right now. Didn't we depend on the government at one point? We were looking at the government as for the people, by the people, for the people, by the people, by the people, for the people, whatever the hell, how that shit goes. There was you know, a big level of patriotism. There was you know, a big belief in that we depended on the government. You see, the whole thing is dependency. What is the role of a hero? The hero is to basically overcome evil and protect the people. That's what the heroes do. The heroes go out, fight the bad guys, and then you got the crowd cheering for you. The crowd depends on you to save the day. Here I come to save the day. And then, you know, you started to see this in movies where the Avengers were demonized because there was a lot of disasters and catastrophes that happened, right? So this is what caused the movie Avengers Civil War to come out, right? When you look at, for example, the movie Superman, how Superman was battling General Zod, and this is what caused the movie to come out, Batman v Superman, right? And this is because even one of Bruce Wayne's closest, I think it was a family member or acquaintance, I don't remember, died in one of the buildings that General Zod and Superman destroyed based on them fighting in the city. You get what I'm saying? You could see this in Transformers. You know, they were the heroes. They were fighting with the government, and then all of a sudden, you know, innocent people started to die. They turned on the Transformers. Now the Transformers had to go into hiding. So you know, and you can kind of see this on a little scale, but it's not like direct mirrors, but you can kind of see the reflection of what's going on in real life right now. Everything's being shown to you in movies, TV shows, and whatnot. You just gotta kind of look in between at what's going on. You get what I'm saying? Not to put too much of your energy or mind into it or anything like that, but when you can see these little things playing out, you can kind of see how it's playing out on a bigger scale here in this life. You get what I'm saying? And you know, right now we're the government is doing the ultimate heel turn. Right now we're basically not putting so much of our trust into the government. There's now a lot of people talking about, you know, an alternative media when it comes down to the vaccines, and how the government is really not for the people, but it's all business, how it's America's a corporation and whatnot. And it's not to look at this as a victim and start to demonize these things. Again, that's why I said I'm gonna make another video on how you are actually managing your systems to begin with. You get what I'm saying? Look at the things that you put out. Are you putting it out? What is the purpose of you putting it out? Sometimes, you know, I remember that there's certain things that come out, right? And you just can't wait to share it. But the intent behind it, is it to share it for because you know that this has the potential to get a lot of views or followers, or you know what I'm saying, like, or are you genuinely doing this because you want to share this with fellow man, no different than you trying to help out a family member? You get what I'm saying? All those little things are things to pay attention to. Is you in God mode, where you are looking at these people as blood cells in your body, and the more you can empower and wake certain people up, the more you know you're empowered, because it's more or less like you're in a body that you're empowering, that you're basically just observing right now in this form just temporarily, but you know that the moment that they go to your actual wake when you die, because they go to your wake when you wake up from this dream, that what you did here you were an empowered source, but you were also somebody who would be categorized as powerful, somebody who had influence, or, you know what I'm saying? We use all these words, network, net worth, you know what I'm saying? We talk about it as far as like net worth in business, but this is how the government is. The government is nothing personal, is just business, but you're doing the same thing. When you talk about network and net worth, what are we looking at it, and how are we using it? How are we utilizing it? Are we utilizing it in a sense where we're saying, this is, you know, something I'm doing for business, or am I doing it as equivalent as if I was empowering myself? This is what I'm trying to do with other people outside of myself as well. You get what I'm saying? So again, I mean, look, you got mafia people, you got all these, I mean, look, Sammy the Bull Gravano, fucking, I forgot the other guy's name, but, I mean, they got fucking YouTube channels, and they got fucking crazy amount of followings, and a lot of people look up to these people, you know what I'm saying? And at one point, they were a fucking menace to society. You get what I'm saying? So, again, I'm making this disclaimer. I don't put my videos for children. These are adults, so I'm pretty sure you guys know what I'm talking about. This is all a big game. It's like fucking wrestling. You got a fucking good guy, he does a heel turn, he goes back to being a good guy. You know what I'm saying? They got a certain aura to them, a certain energy that they're perceived by, because that's just the energy that was designed for this character, based on the story that's happening around the other characters. You get what I'm saying? But there's always a designer. You got the Vince McMahon, you got the Dana Whites. You get what I'm saying? What role are you playing? You get what I'm saying? What role are you playing? Are you doing things as a human? Are you doing things as an actual God, where you're looking at it from the bird's eye view? It's kind of like saying I'm a religious person, and instead of just being in one bubble, they say think outside the box. Thinking outside the box is having the bird's eye view of seeing all religions. Now you're truly a religious person, but you could also see the connectiveness, even though there appears to be differences and separations between all the religions. You get what I'm saying? You can still see the connectivity between all of them and still realize the God in all of them, because they're talking about the same shit. They're just making different stories around it. It's just like, you know, it's just all perception. The government, you know, when we talk about hidden knowledge and things that they hide from the people, I mean, are you old enough? Are you mature enough to be able to conduct yourself as a God here in society? That's the whole thing. We got to be honest with ourselves. You know, like you know, when a child is at a certain age, you don't expose certain things of sexuality to them. You don't, you know, you kind of hide things from them, but to protect them or keep their childlike innocence to some extent. You get what I'm saying? There's certain things you don't tell your children until they're old enough, you know? But the child matures, and then they either find out for themselves, or, you know, you have a conversation where, because you know better, you guide them in that way. You get what I'm saying? So how does it happen with adults? You're basically going out, venturing and finding things out for yourself. You're kind of becoming rebellious, sneaking out of the house, going into alternative media, being rebellious and not following orders like you're supposed to. I mean, if your parents tell you to sit down and eat your vegetables and you can't get, then what do? You have to eat your vegetables. If not, they deprive you of something, right? It's the same thing. The government tells you, go get your vaccines or you cannot travel. Go do this or you cannot do this. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like the same thing. You're at the mercy of your parents. And your parents are basically your gods when you're a little kid. You look up to your parents, you ask your parents for questions, you depend on them, right? And then it goes through phases where you just become fucking rebellious toward your children. I mean, toward your parents. You start sneaking out because you think you know better, right? But at the end of the day, you can also switch the perception and roles. I mean, you are your parents, you are the government, you are all these things. And when you start to change those perceptions, life starts to work in a sense where it works in your favor. Even technology starts to work in your favor. When you want to know something, things just start popping up. People start to say, oh yeah, these commercial ads start popping up. You know, they're reading my mind and things like that. I mean, everything's working for you. If you could just fucking be like, well, wow, I was thinking of something like this, and then all of a sudden a marketing ad comes up. Be grateful for it. Be like, shit, I was thinking of this. I'm glad this marketing thing came up. It's actually working for me. It's kind of like you say you're a king and you're a master and you got some slaves, right? So go get me that. They bring it to you. You sit in a fucking restaurant. You place an order. You make an order, an order. You expect the fucking order to come exactly as you asked, right? So it's the same thing. Just look at it as, you know, you're being served. All right, but you could look at that word being served in different ways too. You could be served to fucking, like you got a fucking a court case and you're being served, and now you got to go fucking participate in a fucking courtroom and have a competition with another party in a courtroom. Or you could be served in a way where you're just being served and your needs are being met. It's just perceptions. These words have so many different meanings. You get what I'm saying? But it's whatever you apply the meaning to for them to mean, you know? I mean, again, we got theme songs behind these wrestlers. You know what I'm saying? Like everything, the song is basically is frequencies coming at you, right? They have a memory attached to them. Like I said, when I was with a girl, I had a good time with her, you know, when I was younger, let's say, romantic mood, honeymoon effect. There may have been a song playing in the background, certain aromas, certain things that kind of spark that memory. It's not like the memory of her, like the memory's all in. All these memories are in you. That's why everything in you could be sparked by a frequency, could be sparked by something in your life that you may have done. Let's say we talk about previous life, it could be sparked by just something that triggers that memory. You get what I'm saying? And if it's unfavorable things that society may demonize or not be, may not look at it as acceptable, sometimes you got to look at those things a little deeper. Why do certain people trigger you? The people that may be doing certain heinous acts, why do those people trigger you? There's something in you to that extent that it's not requiring you to go and be an activist outside of you. It's more or less like to find out what that means within you, and then you fix that within you, and you start to see that these things may not disappear outside of you, but they won't affect you. Are you really changing anything outside of this creation, or is it that you're changing yourself to the extent that certain things just don't affect you? You change your mind, you could change how you live your life as far as like monetary gains, like wealth and whatnot. Like I've made this example in previous videos. I feel like Donald Trump. I don't have his net worth, but for some reason I feel like him. You know what I'm saying? Like I could walk around and say I feel as abundant as he does. You get what I'm saying? But that can eventually even bleed into one potentially having that kind of net worth. Like I said, at one point I was fucking visualizing every night, because I played hockey. I was in the leagues, but I was visualizing myself, and I was a fucking great hockey player. Fucking scoring the hat trick, scoring the championship, having the fucking team come at me and lift me up, having the crowd throwing hats at the red, and I fucking felt goosebumps. I was really in that fucking experience, right? I was not physically there, but I was actually still there, because I even fucking had the emotions as if I was there. But it bled into other areas of my life, being successful, and it just happened, right? It just happened because I was winning, and I was a winner. I placed myself in that winner circle, but my mind was looking for that. It doesn't have to be exactly that. I didn't become an NHL player, but your mind will put you in that perspective that you had when you were visualizing yourself as a winner, to repeat yourself. Like I remember when it bled into it. I was in fucking Mexico, and I was talking in front of 2,000 people. This is on my Instagram. If you look at my Instagram, you'll see the type of lifestyle I had beforehand. You know what I'm saying? And the crowd cheering for me, like, and it actually, after my event where I was presenting the supplement that wasn't even mine, it was somebody else's company, but I made so much money for this company because of my performance, right? But how could you do this in your life, to do this for yourself, for your own business? You get what I'm saying? As far as your body, your business, and what you take with you after this fucking shit is over. You get what I'm saying? Like, you don't take physical gains, right? But anyway, what I was saying was, I was talking in Mexico, and the crowd cheering, and I felt the goosebumps, and I felt that shit. You know what I'm saying? I felt that energy, to the point where even afterwards, I had these people, like, if I was a movie star, they wanted to take pictures of me as if I was an actual movie star. You know what I'm saying? And it's great. And I got somebody here. I'm gonna have to cut this video short, but we'll talk soon.